You had 6 sisters, all as rich as nations and dotingly obsessed with their younger brother. When they fell on hard times, you donated your own organs to save them. But now, you were just a cold corpse. And not a single one of them was willing to handle your final affairs. When the hospital notified your family, they were all convinced it was another one of your tricks to scam them for money. If your soft-hearted eldest sister hadn't dragged them to the hospital, you might have laid in that morgue for several more days. It wasn't until they saw your pale, cold body that they finally believed you were dead, and they all stood frozen in place. A nurse told them to clear out your belongings from your hospital room. In the room, an old woman handed them an iron box. Xiao Fan asked me to help him wire some money before he took his last breath. She said, but an old woman like me doesn't know how to do that. It's good you're here, you can take it. Your eldest sister took the box and opened it. Inside was a roll of cash, a wire transfer account number, and a notebook. Your 6th sister recognized the account number immediately. It was the same one they used to receive money from. The eldest sister frantically opened the notebook. And finally, the truth came out. You had been abducted by human traffickers as a child. Your grief-stricken parents adopted a son from an orphanage and named him Thankyou. It was this Thankyou who made your sisters despise you. They doted on him for years. When you were finally found and returned home over a decade later, Thankyou, wanting to protect his position, schemed against you in countless ways, making your sisters grow to resent you. Not long after, the Chen family went bankrupt. Just before it happened, Thankyou took a large sum of money and fled the country. To help your sisters through the crisis, you worked 5 jobs a day, wiring every penny you earned into their accounts. Fearing they wouldn't accept the money from you, you sent it all under Thankyou's name. Reading this, they still couldn't believe that the person who had been supporting them was the one they despised the most. Then they turned the page and found several organ donation forms, each one signed with your name. The 6 sisters stood there, utterly stunned. Suddenly, a clap of thunder roared outside, and the world dissolved into chaos. Perhaps your sacrifice moved the heavens, because you were reborn. When you came to your senses, you heard Thankyou calling your name. It was him, the one who had stolen all the love meant for you. When you were first brought back to this family, he had threatened you, forbidding you from calling her Mom. Having grown up alone, you had developed a timid personality and simply gave in to his threats. Opening your eyes again, you swore that this time, you would live for yourself. Looking around, you recognized the scene. Thankyou was about to frame you for theft to make your mother, Thankyou, completely give up on you, her biological son. So, you decided to play along. You agreed to help Thankyou get her wooden box. A triumphant smile flashed across Thankyou's face. But you didn't head for the room. Instead, you walked toward the back garden. You remembered from your past life that at this very banquet, old Master Chu had collapsed in the back garden from a heart attack. An event that laid the groundwork for the Chen family's later bankruptcy. Sure enough, as you entered the garden, you saw a white-haired old man slumped in his wheelchair, clutching his chest and moaning in pain. You rushed over, patting his chest while asking, "Grandpa, where's your medicine?" Old Master Chu weakly raised a hand and pointed to his pocket. His face was already turning deathly pale. You quickly reached into his pocket and, sure enough, found a small bottle. You poured out 2 pills and put them in his mouth. Once he swallowed the pills, the color slowly returned to old Master Chu's face. Seeing you, his voice trembled. "Young man, what's your name?" "My name is Chen Fan." You replied without hesitation. Hearing your name, old Master Chu's eyes lit up. "So, you're the Chen family's boy." You paused. "I just got back to the Chen family. How does this old Master Chu seem to know me?" Good kid, good kid." The more old Master Chu looked at you, the more he liked you. "Why aren't you in the main hall? What are you doing out here?" You feigned embarrassment. "My brother asked me to get Mom's redwood box. But I just got back and don't know my way around. So I ended up here." Old Master Chu, already fond of you, felt a surge of protectiveness upon seeing your Zhang Po expression. HMPH. What is the Chen family thinking? Don't they know you just returned? And they're already ordering you around. I'll go with you, old man. Thank you, Grandpa. On the way back, Old Master Chu held the redwood box while you pushed his wheelchair. The two of you seemed like old friends who had just met. As you approached the main hall, you heard a commotion inside. Faintly hearing someone shout your name. A glint flashed in your eyes, hidden beneath your bangs, and you couldn't suppress a slight smile. The show's starting, but on the surface, you remained perfectly calm. You bent down and whispered to Old Master Chu, "Grandpa, please wait here for a moment. I'll go see what's happening." Before he could reply, you had already taken the box and walked into the hall. Just like in your previous life, Chen Yu was standing anxiously beside Chen Yu. "Mom, don't worry, little brother should be back soon." The woman next to Chen Yu wore a white cheongsam, her hair elegantly pinned up. You froze, your eyes welling up as you looked at her, your body trembling uncontrollably. In your past life, Chen Yu had died of liver cancer. Thanks to Chen Yu's meddling, you never got to see your own mother one last time. "Mom," you stood rooted to the spot, afraid to move forward, fearing this was just an illusion. Chen Yu looked at her teary-eyed son, and her heart softened. He was her own flesh and blood. After all, she beckoned gently, "Xiao Fan, come here to Mom." You bit your lip, fighting the urge to run to her and cry your heart out. You walked slowly to her side. "It's Mom. It's really Mom." Chen Yu's eyes narrowed and he clenched his fists, his fingernails digging deep into his palms. He had warned you privately not to call her Mom. What was going on? Before, it was because you refused to call her Mom that Chen Yu had been so distant. Hearing you call her Mom now, her tone had clearly softened. His plan was so close to succeeding, he couldn't let it fail now. Taking a deep breath, he put on an innocent expression. "Brother, you're just in time. You really scared Mom and me. It's my fault for not keeping a better eye on Xiao Fan. You just got back to the family. Brother, you shouldn't wander off. By the way, where's the hairpin you were getting for Mom?" You took a deep breath, suppressing all the emotions welling up inside you, and handed the box to Chen Yu. As he took it, a cruel smirk touched his lips. "Why is there nothing in the box? Brother, where's Mom's hairpin? Don't tell me you lost it?" His voice was incredibly loud, echoing throughout the hall. The lively hall fell silent in an instant. The wealthy guests and socialites who had been chatting moments ago now all turned to watch the spectacle. Chen Yu continued anxiously, "Brother, did you take Mom's hairpin? That box contained a keepsake from Grandma to Mom. Don't you know how precious that is to her? Stop joking around and give it back to Mom." His words made it sound as if it were a fact that you had taken it. Sure enough, everyone in the hall now looked at you with unfriendly eyes. What do you expect from someone who grew up in a poor place? So dishonest. So what if he's the biological son? After being apart for so long, there's obviously no bond. The adopted son is much more devoted. Amid the murmurs of accusation, you remained calm. You looked up at Lu Ru. "Mom, I didn't take it. The maids were all in the room when I got the box." There's no way there was a problem. Your voice wasn't loud, but it was firm and clear for the entire hall to hear. But there was still plenty of time on the way back. What if you got greedy along the way? Nobody would know. Chen Yu pressed on. The words, "got greedy," were too jarring. Lu Ru frowned instantly. Although you were new to the family, you were still her own flesh and blood. It was natural for a mother to feel upset when her son was accused with such venomous words. She shot Chen Yu a reproachful look. But Chen Yu was too caught up in the thrill of his impending victory to notice her glare. Just then, a deep, elderly, yet authoritative voice broke the tension. "Chen Yu, my boy, are you implying that I stole something from your family?" The crowd parted to reveal a dignified old man in a wheelchair, being pushed forward by a man in a suit. "Chief Lu, isn't that old Master Chu of the Chu family?" The Chu family is several tiers above the Chen family, a top-tier wealthy family. Accusing him of theft is absurd. Chen Yu hadn't expected old Master Chu to speak up for you. His face turned an awkward shade. "Grandpa Chu," he said fawningly, "we weren't talking about you." "Not talking about me?" Old Master Chu snorted. I was the one who came back with Xiao Fan. He didn't even touch the box. If something's missing, aren't you saying this old man took it? Chen Yu knew his family couldn't afford to offend the Chus. His face instantly turned pale. After scolding Chen Yu, Old Master Chu turned to you, who stood with your head down, looking wronged. His heart ached for you. Is this how the Chen family treats you? You blinked. It's nothing. Grandpa, Mom is still here. You were annoyed with Chen Yu. But you didn't want to cause trouble for your mother. But Old Master Chu wouldn't have it. Xiao Lu, call that brat Yu and tell her to get over here right now. Chief Lu, standing behind him, hesitated. But sir, Miss said she has a very important meeting today. Meeting? What meeting? Her fiancé is being bullied and she's in a meeting? Tell her to get her butt over here now. Old Master Chu was fuming. Chief Lu froze. Since when did the young miss have a fiancé? You were stunned too. Why is this old man playing matchmaker? I have a fiancé? Since when? Chief Lu didn't dare defy the old master's command. He took out his phone and made the call. It was answered quickly. A pleasant voice came through. Uncle Lu, what's wrong? Chief Lu glanced at the old master, whose face was red with anger. Miss, could you come to the Chen family's residence? The old master is not feeling well. He's asking for you. Not feeling well? Chu Yu rubbed her brow. He was fine this afternoon. What happened all of a sudden? I'll be right there, Chu Yu said. Putting down the phone, Chief Lu let out a sigh of relief. He hadn't dared to say the part about backing up her fiancé. He was afraid the young miss would come through the phone and smack him. Sir, the young miss will be here shortly. Old Master Chu's expression finally softened. That girl knows what's good for her. He then turned to you with a smile. Don't be afraid, little fan. If the Chen family doesn't treat you right, you can come to our Chu family. My granddaughter happens to need a future husband. She has a bad temper. She's cold as ice. And she's got a lot of issues. If she ever makes you feel wronged, you tell Grandpa Chu, and I'll discipline her. Chief Lu's mouth twitched. The young miss was such an outstanding person. But in the old master's mouth, she sounded like a good-for-nothing brat. The guests all knew who Old Master Chu's little brat was. Chu Yu, the head of the Chu family, the president of the Chu Corporation, a figure whose words could cause economic tremors. Hearing Old Master Chu's words, Chen Yu's eyes widened, and he nearly choked. Why, is the Chu family blind? Why would they be interested in this country bumpkin? With things escalating like this, Chen Yu and Chen Fu couldn't stay silent. They could only smile apologetically at Old Master Chu, saying it was just a squabble between children and making Chen Yu apologize to you. Chen Yu simply couldn't bring himself to apologize to someone he looked down on in front of everyone. So, he pulled you into the garden. Standing in the garden, Chen Yu took 3 deep breaths before forcing out through gritted teeth. Brother, I'm sorry. It was my fault. Please don't be mad at me. Okay? You glanced around. It was a secluded corner. This Chen Yu really cares about his pride. Finding such a remote place to apologize. It must have been hard for him. But with such a great location, wouldn't it be a waste not to do something to repay Chen Yu's painstaking effort? You calmly raised your hand and slapped him hard across his feigned sincere right cheek. This slap, Chen Yu, is for slandering me. Before he could react, you followed up with a backhand slap to his left cheek. And this slap is for being a heartless, ungrateful traitor. You remembered clearly that the reason your family went bankrupt so quickly was that Chen Yu had colluded with a rival company. At the very end, he even stole the family's emergency funds and fled abroad. After being slapped, Chen Yu stood stunned for a moment. When he came to his senses, he lunged at you in a frenzy. You hick, you dare hit me, I'll kill you. Having done farm work since you were a child, you were incredibly strong. You grabbed his hand and said in a low voice, if you want to stay in the Chen family, you'd better clip your claws. Otherwise, I don't mind having an older brother who dies a mysterious death. Your eyes were bloodshot, filled with a deep-seated hatred, like a demon straight from hell. Your expression terrified Chen Yu, and he began to tremble. You flung his hand away and calmly took out a wet wipe from your pocket, meticulously cleaning your fingers. So dirty. In the southeast corner of the garden, a woman watched this scene with a playful look on her handsome face. He's a bit like me. Her phone was still buzzing with Quiku. Miss, have you arrived yet? The old master is throwing a fit again. The call pulled Chu Yu back to reality. Her expression hardened. Yes, I'm almost there. Meanwhile, after being slapped twice, Chen Yu fled in terror. Probably to tattle. You sneered, completely unconcerned. As you looked up, your eyes met a pair of deep, cold pools. You frowned slightly, realizing this woman had probably seen you slap Chen Yu. You slowly raised your hand, drew your thumb across your neck in a clear threat, and then turned and walked back into the hall without waiting to see her reaction. A strong sense of amusement flickered in Chu Yu's bright eyes, and she couldn't help but smile. Very good, man. You've successfully caught my attention. As soon as you entered the hall, you saw Chen Yu crying to your parents. Dad, Mom, look, he hit me. Old Master Chu scoffed. Such a big deal over nothing. Crying over a little scratch. Where's your manhood? At this point, even if Chen Fu and Chen Mu wanted to comfort him, they didn't dare speak. The old master, after speaking, looked up and grunted, tapping his cane on the floor. You little brat, get over here. A woman in a magnificent dress walked up to old Master Chu. Grandpa, didn't you say you weren't feeling well? Should we go to the hospital? Wait, this woman looks so familiar. Isn't she the one I just saw in the garden? Your mind went blank. Old Master Chu suddenly beckoned to you. Fan, my boy, come here. You took a deep breath and walked over, forcing a smile. Grandpa Chu. Chu Yu raised an eyebrow. He looked much more obedient now than he did in the garden. Like a little hedgehog with its spines retracted. Yu, have I ever told you that you and the Chen family's boy were engaged as children? This is your fiancé. Why don't you two get acquainted? You and Chu Yu looked at old Master Chu with question marks over your heads. When did this happen? How come I don't know? Not just you two. Even Chen Fu and Chen Mu were completely bewildered. Old Master Chu, are you sure you're not mistaken? Old Master Chu huffed. You think I, an old man, would lie to you? More than a decade ago, Old Man Chen lost a game of chess and betrothed his grandson to our Chu family. What? Are you trying to back out of it now? Losing a bet over a game of chess? And this counts? Chen Fu and Chen Mu exchanged a look. The Chen family's old master and the Chu family's old master were war buddies and often played chess and made bets. It was a common occurrence. But this was the first they had ever heard of this particular bet. Besides, old Master Chen was currently in a hospital abroad for treatment, so there was no way to confirm it. Chu Yu looked at you with an amused expression. Grandpa, I think Mr. Chen doesn't seem very happy with this marriage. He looks rather reluctant. You felt your teeth grind. This woman is doing this on purpose. Chen Mu looked at you with concern. Xiao Fan, do you agree to this marriage? You took a deep breath and were about to speak when you were cut off by a loud shout. I disagree. It was your eldest sister. Chen Huang's voice. Chen Yu, who had been gritting his teeth in frustration, brightened at the sound of her voice and called out happily. Big sis. Because your 6 sisters disliked you. They had all made excuses to be away, either at school or at work. None of them had come. Chen Huang's sudden appearance was probably to back up Chen Yu. You frowned. Better stay away from her. With that thought, you discreetly shuffled backward. The fiery woman had rushed here straight from the airport. After a long flight and journey, the moment she stepped into the villa and saw your familiar figure, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness I made it in time. Thank goodness you're all still here. Seeing Chen Huang, Chen Yu felt like he'd found his anchor. He ran over with red eyes, grabbing her sleeve to complain. Big sis, you're finally back. Xiao Fan hit me, and Mom and Dad won't do anything about it. From the moment she entered, Chen Huang's eyes had been fixed on you. Hearing Chen Yu say you hit him, she frowned and stopped in her tracks. Xiao Fan hit you? Chen Yu thought his big sister was concerned about him and nodded eagerly. Big sis, look, he was so cruel. Sure enough, when Chen Huang saw the mark on his face, her expression changed. Then, she pushed away Chen Yu, who was still clutching her sleeve. Caught off guard, Chen Yu stumbled. He was about to get angry. But when he saw his big sister striding menacingly toward you, he held his tongue. Chu Yuyu, watching the drama unfold, frowned, and her expression darkened. She quietly took a few steps forward, positioning herself to intervene if Chen Huang tried to lay a hand on you. Chen Fu and Chen Mu were also worriedly trying to stop Chen Huang from getting close to you. But instead, Chen Huang suddenly threw her arms around you, pulling you into a tight hug. Her beautiful eyes started to mist over. Xiao Fan, it's so good. It's so good that you're alive. You were completely confused. This isn't how the story went in my past life. Wasn't she supposed to be here to get revenge for Chen Yu? While you were stunned, Chen Huang took your hand, looking at it with heartbreaking tenderness. She muttered, "Are you stupid? Are all the servants in this house just for show? Did you have to hit him yourself? Does your hand hurt? Do we need to go to the hospital?" Not just Chen Yu, but even you were shocked by this scene. This plot seems to be going in the wrong direction. In your past life, wasn't your eldest sister a doting maniac when it came to Chen Yu? Why was she suddenly so concerned about you? Chen Yu watched this, his red eyes filled with sharp jealousy. His face twisted like a demon's. Why? This country bumpkin gets mom and dad's attention. And he even gets old Master Chu's protection. And now even Big Sis, who just got back, seems like a different person. No, Big Sis is my last hope. I can't lose her just like this. Big Sis, I'm Xiao Yu. You even called me yesterday and said you were coming back today to back me up. Chen Yu cried hysterically. Chen Huang frowned and turned to glare at him. Her eyes filled with an icy chill. What are you yelling about? Have you forgotten all the manners we spent so much money to teach you? Did they all go to the dogs? After scolding Chen Yu, Chen Huang felt a sense of relief. She was reborn. Even she couldn't believe it. After experiencing the Chen family's bankruptcy, living on the streets, and being saved by you, which allowed them to make a comeback, she was reborn. It was as if God himself was giving her a chance to atone for her regrets. This time, she would take good care of you. After being scolded, Chen Yu looked at her in disbelief, his eyes brimming with hurt tears. Big Sis, Chen Fan started it. He knew that as soon as he showed this wronged expression, his big sister would immediately feel sorry for him. But this time, he was disappointed. Chen Huang's cold expression didn't change at all. Xiao Fan is so well behaved. He would never hit someone for no reason. You must have provoked him. Chen Huang's presence was powerful. No one in the room dared to argue with what she said. Being rebuked in front of so many people, no matter how arrogant Chen Yu was, he felt utterly humiliated. He stomped his foot and ran upstairs. You quietly tried to pull your hand out of Chen Huang's grasp, but she held it tightly, her hand trembling slightly. After several attempts, you failed. Big Sis, aren't you going to go check on brother? Chen Huang had already switched to a gentle and delicate demeanor, a far cry from the fierce woman of moments ago. She looked at you tenderly, ruffling your hair. Don't be scared, sweetie. Big Sis will always be here to protect you. You were completely baffled. Something felt very wrong. Before you could process it, you saw Chen Huang turn around and walk over to old Master Chu. She bowed respectfully and greeted him politely. Hello, Grandpa Chu. It's been a while. You're still as hale and hearty as ever. Old Master Chu grunted petulantly. Chen Huang acted as if she hadn't heard and continued smoothly. I heard Grandpa Chu joking about an arranged marriage just now. Xiao Fan is still young. There's no rush for these things. It's ridiculous. My Xiao Fan is only 17. Not even an adult yet. This Chu family's granddaughter is already 23. She's an old woman. How could she be worthy of my Xiao Fan? Hearing her words, old Master Chu's sharp brows furrowed again. What? Is your Chen family trying to back out of a lost bet? Chen Huang calmly replied, Grandpa Chu, this is no longer the era of arranged marriages decided by parents and matchmakers. Children have their own destinies. My little brother is still young. It's truly a bit early for marriage. Besides, he's still in school. We can't let it interfere with him getting into university. Don't you agree? Old Master Chu's brow furrowed. This eldest granddaughter of Old Man Chen was no pushover. With just a few words, she had skillfully deflected the entire issue. If he pushed any further, it would make him look like a disrespectful old man. He poked his granddaughter beside him with his cane and glared at her fiercely. Say something. If you let my grandson-in-law slip away, don't even think about coming home. Receiving her grandfather's signal, Chu Yuyu smiled faintly. President Chen is right. This was indeed a bit rash. Seeing her being so sensible, Chen Huang couldn't help but nod. Thank you for your understanding. President Chu. Hearing her words, you also breathed a huge sigh of relief. Your tense shoulders relaxing. I don't want to get married right after coming back. Especially to this woman who is obviously not to be trifled with. After I provoked her in the garden earlier, who knows how she would treat me if we really got married. Chu Yuyu naturally saw you behind Chen Huang. A meaningful smile appeared on her face. No rush. Only when the little hedgehog retracts its spines will it let me get close to its soft belly. The next day, when you came downstairs, everyone was already at the dining table waiting. When Chen Yu saw you come down, his face was full of enthusiasm. Good morning, little brother Xiao Fan. The overly friendly tone made you frown. But you still nodded. Chen Huang beckoned to you. Her voice gentle. Xiao Fan, come sit next to me. Chen Huang placed a peeled egg on your plate and said softly. Xiao Fan, eat your egg. Little brother Xiao Fan, did you sleep well last night? Mom told me your room was decorated just like mine. I don't know if you'll be used to it. If there's anything you don't like, just tell me, Chen Yu said warmly. Hearing Chen Yu's roundabout words, you couldn't help but frown. The good mood you had this morning was ruined by this idiot. He was insinuating, in every way possible, that you were just a substitute. Hey, childish. However, seeing that Chen Yu was already back to his energetic self, as if yesterday's events had been forgotten, it seemed he had already managed to win back your parents' favor early in the morning. No matter how unruly you were still your parents' biological child. Now that you were back, you wouldn't be sent away again. But Chen Yu was different. He was adopted. The Chens had raised him for so long. They had done more than enough. If he didn't hold on tightly to Chen Fu and Chen Yu, his future in the Chen family would be uncertain. In the Chen family, he lived the life of a carefree, wealthy young master. If he really left the Chen family, he would be nothing. Your mother, Lu Ru, was simple and kind-hearted, and didn't catch the underlying meaning in Chen Yu's words. Xiao Fan, if you need anything, just tell Mom. You disliked Chen Yu, but you really liked this mother. Hearing her concern, the stern lines of your face softened immediately. I slept very well last night. Mom, you don't have to worry. Lu Ru breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Oh, by the way, little brother, Dad and Mom just asked which high school you want to go to. I have a classmate at the affiliated high school. If you go there, I can have them look after you. Chen Yu said with a raised eyebrow. The affiliated high school was a decent, but not exceptional, school. His words made Chen Huang frown first. How could her own brother attend such a low-tier school? He's not going to the affiliated high school. The facilities there are too poor. Xiao Fan, Big Sis knows the principal of Bai Gao. I donated a laboratory building to them. You can go to school there. Chen Huang said lightly. Bai Gao was a bona fide school for the rich, where the students were all wealthy or powerful. They went to school just to get a diploma. Their grades didn't matter since they would all go abroad for university afterward. You knew Chen Huang meant well. But now that you had a second chance at life, you were eager to study and not waste your time. Big Sis, I don't want to go to Bai Gao. I want to go to Jin Gao. You said firmly. At your words, everyone's eyes widened. Jin Gao was a well-known gathering place for top students. Its acceptance rate for top-tier universities was an astonishing 98%. Everyone was desperate to get in. However, the principal of Jin Gao was notoriously old-fashioned and stubborn, absolutely refusing to allow anyone to get in through connections. Even the children of wealthy families had to honestly take the entrance exam. If they didn't do well, they would be rejected all the same. This put Chen Huang in a difficult position. Chen Yu, on the other hand, sneered and said, pretending to be kind, little brother Xiao Fan, getting into Jingao isn't as easy as just saying you want to. My sixth sister and I studied until midnight for a whole year to get in. The pride in his tone was unmistakable. Even then, I only barely passed. Besides, the college entrance exams are in 2 months. The academic pressure at Jingao is immense. You won't be able to handle it. Hearing him say that, you looked up, your eyes filled with undisguised mockery. Is that so? Then you too must be pretty dumb. Chen Yu's neck turned red with anger. Although his grades weren't at the top of his class, whenever people heard he studied at Jingao, they all praised his promising future. This was the first time anyone had ever called him dumb. You ignored his anger and put down your bowl. Big sis, I've made up my mind. I'm going to Jingao. Don't worry, I'll get in on my own merit. Seeing your determined look, Chen Huang nodded. All right, Big sis believes in you. But don't put too much pressure on yourself. Big sis has enough money to support you. Even if you want to just eat, drink, and be merry for the rest of your life. Big sis can afford it. Right now, she wanted nothing more than to support you for a lifetime to make up for the regrets of her past life. Since her rebirth, she had been evaluating and avoiding the projects that had led to the company's bankruptcy. Plus, she now had the experience of starting a company from her previous life. She was certain that the Chen family would absolutely not go bankrupt this time. You didn't know what she was thinking. Hearing her say she would support you, your mouth twitched. Thinking about the Chen family's bankruptcy in my past life. It's not yet certain who will be supporting whom in the future. Actually, your determination wasn't just about deflating Chen Yu's ego. More importantly, you were genuinely confident. In your previous life, to avoid bringing shame to the Chen family, you had followed the path of an elite student. Studying to the death, you refused to believe that a high school exam could be harder than a university dissertation. On the way to the school, Chen Yu's lips curled into a proud smile. He had looked into it. You used to attend a regular high school in the countryside, with grades in the middle to lower range. And now you dreamed of going to the same school as him? Wishful thinking. There's going to be a good show to watch soon. You couldn't be bothered to guess what he was thinking, so you closed your eyes to rest. Both of you seemed quiet. Chen Huang sat in the passenger seat, frowning as she texted her assistant. Is it done? Is the principal of Jingao willing to make an exception? President Chen. The principal of Jingao won't agree at all. He won't agree? Does he think my donation of 1 building is too little? Then I'll donate 3 more. He has to accept my little brother. No matter what. President Chen. No matter how many buildings you donate. The principal of Jingao won't agree. Their current senior class is taking the college entrance exams in 2 months. The principal is dead set against taking in a new student at this stage and risking dragging down their scores. Useless. If he ruins my little brother's enthusiasm for school, I'll have Jingao razed to the ground. The Chen family's house wasn't far from Jingao, and they arrived shortly. As soon as you got out of the car, a youthful and unrestrained atmosphere hit you. Even your heart, which had been silent for 2 lifetimes, couldn't help but leap with excitement. A smile you couldn't suppress touched your lips. This is great. I've finally reached the place I once dreamed of. Although the principal was firm about not making an exception, he was still afraid of the Chen family's influence. He waited anxiously at the school gate to greet you and had even set aside a separate room for your test. The total score was 750. With a passing mark of 600. You glanced at the questions and immediately started writing, your pen flying across the paper. The proctor next to you was stunned by your speed. Doesn't this kid even double-check his work? He just glanced at the question and knew the answer. The test was 4 hours long. But you finished in just 1 hour and put down your pen. I'm done, teacher. I'd like to turn in my paper. The proctor was puzzled. Don't you want to work on it a bit more or check your answers? You smiled faintly. Thank you, teacher. But that's not necessary. The score should be enough. The proctor frowned and picked up your test to grade it. Chen Huang, Seeing you turn in your paper so quickly, guessed that the questions must have been too hard. She tried to comfort you. It's okay. If you can't get into this trashy school, then so be it. Big sis will find you a better one. The principal, standing nearby, thought, do you have to say that so openly? The proctor, Li Liang, graded your paper quickly. At first, he thought you had no chance. But the more he looked, the more surprised and shocked he became. You had answered few questions, but every single one was correct. It was the same for every subject. At the end, he saw it, exactly 600 points. Not a single point more or less. This boy was clearly controlling his score. If you had finished the entire test, you probably could have ranked among the top in the entire grade. It's not scary when a student is a top student, it's scary when a student can control their score. Teacher Li Liang held the test papers and approached with a smile. Trying to negotiate. Chen Fan, my boy, you did very well. You've passed the cutoff. Say, are you interested in joining my B class? The senior year had 4 classes, ranked by grades, with a class being the best. You looked at Li Liang leisurely. I'm sorry, teacher, but I want to go to A class. Your dream wasn't just limited to getting into Jin Gao. You wanted to do what you did in your past life. Have your name hung high on the top of the honor roll. The principal beamed with joy and immediately agreed. Yes, of course. Chen Fan can go to whichever class he wants. Teacher Li Liang, please contact Teacher Lu immediately and tell her that her class is getting a new transfer student. What a joke. Although the classes are divided by grades, this student was obviously controlling his score. With that accuracy rate, he could easily get first place. This is a treasure. Teacher Li Liang looked a bit dejected. Yes, sir. He took a few steps, then turned back to you. Just so you know, Teacher Lu has a bit of a temper. If she gives you a hard time, you can come to my class. My door is always open for you. You nodded. Thank you, teacher. Chen Huang was still standing there in shock. Holding your test paper. My brother did this? Isn't he a child prodigy? I'm going to hang this up in my office later. Chen Huang put the test papers away. You twitched your mouth. Big sis, that's not necessary, is it? Other CEOs hang famous paintings and calligraphy in their offices. Or at least some art pieces. You're going to hang up 2 test papers? The thought alone was bizarre. Chen Huang, however, looked completely unfazed, not thinking there was anything wrong with what she was doing. This is adult business. Kids don't need to worry about it. Go to class. The driver will pick you up tonight. We'll celebrate properly when you get home. You sighed and didn't insist further. In the office, Lu Yanren looked at you as you came to report. And her face instantly turned cold. You're the Chen Fan who just passed the test. You nodded respectfully. Yes, teacher. Lu Yanren looked you up and down with a cold, mocking expression. The Chen family sure has some pull. Managing to shove someone who just barely passed the cutoff into a class. What did this mean? It meant this newcomer would drag down their class's average score. It would lower their class's overall ranking. The college entrance exam was just around the corner. She really didn't know what the principal was thinking. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. And she directed all her frustration at you. Do you know what the average score of my class is every year? It's 680. It's been like that for 5 consecutive years. I just calculated it. With your 600 points, our overall average drops to 660. What level is that? That's the average level of C class. We are a class, she ranted, her finger jabbing at the desk, making a thumping sound. You were unaffected by her anger and looked at her calmly. What if I can raise our class's average score to 700? Hearing this, Lu Yanren burst out laughing. Anyone can talk big. If you can score 700, I'll make you the class president. Your expression was calm. You glanced up at the surveillance camera not far away. I hope the teacher remembers what she said just now and doesn't go back on her word. Lu Yanren rolled her eyes. But no matter how unwilling she was, it was the principal's order. She had to obey and led you into the classroom. The moment you stepped into the classroom with Lu Yanren, the previously quiet room erupted in whispers. Who's that guy? A transfer student? The college entrance exam is in 2 months. Coming here now to cram is just asking for a death sentence. Seeing the discipline in her class fall apart, Lu Yanran frowned and slammed her hand on the lectern. What's all this? Quiet down. This is our class's new transfer student. Then she turned to Yu and said, all right, don't just stand there like a fool. Go sit in the empty seat in the back. From start to finish, she didn't even bother to introduce your name. Her tone dripping with contempt. You didn't care at all. Not being introduced saved you the trouble of speaking. You scanned the classroom and froze when you saw a familiar figure. Your sixth sister, Chen Mo, was sitting with her arms crossed, looking at you with a disdainful expression. Her eyes filled with open contempt and mockery. You paid no mind to her hostility and found a quiet, secluded corner by the window to sit down. Just as you sat down, your phone in your bag vibrated. You took it out and saw it was a voice message from your eldest sister, Chen Huang. Without thinking, you pressed play. A clear and pleasant voice rang out. Xiao Fan. Study hard. Big sis is leaving now. You're in the same class as Xiao Mo. If there's anything you don't understand, just ask your sixth sister. The whole class heard this and turned in shock to look at Chen Mo. They're siblings? Chen Mo's face instantly darkened. Without a second thought, she denied it. What are you looking at? I only have one younger brother. And that's Chen Yu. Not everyone with the last name Chen is part of our Chen family. She thought to herself. Xiao Yu was right. He really is cunning. As soon as he arrives, he finds ways to tell everyone he's my brother, the true young master of the Chen family. I won't let you get your way. You were left speechless by her childish defiance. How was I supposed to know the voice message would play out loud? And it was Big Sis who said it. Not me. Why are you getting mad at me? Whatever. I've lived 2 lives. I'm not going to argue with a teenager. You didn't argue or explain. You just texted your big sister back a few words. Then turned off your phone and put it in your bag. Then you took out your books to prepare for class. Seeing that there was no more gossip to watch, the class lost interest and turned back around. Just then, the class bell rang. Lu Yanran barked angrily. No phones in the classroom from now on. The mock exam is in a few days. Last time, B class was only 5 points behind our class's average. This time, no one can slack off. If I find out anyone is dragging down our class's average this time, don't blame me for kicking them out of a class. Her pointed words were just short of pointing her finger directly at your nose. All right, everyone take out your practice tests. Today, we're going to go over the final comprehensive problem. You remained calm, letting her words go in one ear and out the other. You twirled the pen in your hand and tilted your head to look at the blackboard where Lu Yanran was writing out the problem. You had overestimated yourself. After listening for less than 10 minutes, you were already frowning, unable to listen anymore. Why is she taking so long to explain such a simple problem? Isn't the answer obvious at a glance? After forcing yourself to listen for another 5 minutes, you really couldn't take it anymore. You rubbed your throbbing temples and pulled out a book for a different subject from your desk. Deciding to study on your own to keep from falling asleep. You weren't worried about math, physics, or English. In your past life, when you were getting your doctorate, you majored in mathematics, physics, and economics, and everything was in English. But your Chinese was definitely lacking. You really needed to put in the effort to memorize classical Chinese texts and poems. Once you had a general idea of your weaknesses, you breathed a sigh of relief. A few days of dedicated study on Chinese shouldn't be too bad. Scoring 700 should be no problem. Your sister Chen Mo, sitting nearby, watched you. You'd flip through one book, then another, like a curious baby. The books were brand new, without a single word written in them. She almost rolled her eyes to the back of her head. I really don't know what trick Big Sis used to convince the principal to make an exception for a slacker and even put him in a class. He's not even as good as Xiao Yu. At least Xiao Yu, though he's in the last class, F class, got in on his own merit. Unlike this guy here, not only does he not pay attention in class, but he's also openly not listening. He's wasting Big Sis's kindness. Chen Mo couldn't stand it anymore. She took a deep breath and chided in a cold voice. Can you please pay attention in class? You were in the middle of memorizing a classical poem. And your rhythm was broken. You frowned. Can you please not talk during class? It was the first time Chen Mo had ever been confronted so directly. Her face flushed red. What a case of good intentions being mistaken for ill will. Just then, an angry shout came from the front of the class. Chen Fan, what are you talking about during class? Stand up and answer this question. Lu Yanran's face was livid. She had been watching you the whole time. She had been thinking that if you just kept quiet, she would let your inattentiveness slide. But she didn't expect you to go and provoke her good student. That was the last straw. Hearing the teacher call on you to answer the question, Chen Mo, whose chest had been heaving with anger, suddenly felt a sense of relief. She turned her head away proudly and snorted. HMPH. Don't expect me to help you. You stood up without expression, glanced at the problem on the blackboard, and said, the answer is the square root of 1/2. As soon as you said it, a strange silence fell over the class. Even Lu Yanran, who had been on the verge of scolding you when you couldn't answer, was forced to swallow her words. She frowned and opened her answer key. It was correct. Only the teachers had the answer key to this practice test. The students couldn't get it. Could it be that you didn't even calculate it? That you knew the answer just by looking at it? No. Impossible. This was a comprehensive problem at the end of the test. Forget mental math. Even she would need 4 or 5 minutes to solve it. How could you know the answer just by glancing at it? There was only one other possibility. Were you secretly looking up the answer on your phone during class? Are you planning to bring your phone to the exam and look up answers then? 2. From now on, cut out your little tricks. This is a class, not one of your previous chaotic classes. Lu Yanran's eyes were sharp. And the more she spoke, the more convinced she became. Hearing her words, your face slowly darkened, and your eyes glinted with a sharp, cold light. You had only come here to fulfill a long-lost dream. You never expected that not all teachers in the world were wise sages who imparted knowledge. There were also these petty, judgmental people disguised as teachers. Where's your evidence? Your calm and composed demeanor momentarily stunned Lu Yanran. She didn't know how to react. What evidence? You smirked, your tone unhurried. The evidence that I was looking up answers on my phone. Teacher, you just lectured me so confidently. So you must have seen me using my phone. You must have some evidence. Right? Lu Yanran was speechless. What evidence did she have? It was all just a guess based on her intuition. Fortunately, the bell rang at that moment, breaking the standoff between the two of you. Lu Yanran furiously gathered her books, shot you a twisted glare, and stormed out of the classroom. The rest of the students in the class, seeing this, erupted. Wow, wow, wow. You actually dared to talk back to the exterminator abbess. You're so brave. That exterminator abbess loves to bully students with slightly lower grades. She's always yelling or scolding, and even attacks us verbally. It's making us all depressed. That's right. We finally got to see some justice today. The students crowded around your desk, their faces full of admiration. You knew they meant no harm and didn't mind their closeness. You smiled and said, I was just stating the facts. Good teachers naturally deserve respect. But those petty people who are unworthy of being teachers don't deserve the title. The cheerful laughter continued on your side of the room. But on the other side, the atmosphere was as heavy as the apocalypse. Chen Mo slammed her pen on the desk with a bang. It was clear she was very annoyed. How did that guy figure it out? No matter how I calculate it, I can't get it right. This problem is on the level of an Olympiad question. The difficulty is obvious, and you actually knew the final answer just by glancing at it? How did you do that? Teacher Lu might not have known, but Chen Mo had a clear view of you. Your phone was never even turned on, let alone taken out, so there was no way you could have looked up the answer. And that wasn't all. She remembered that when you were called up to answer the question, you seemed to be reading a Chinese textbook. Thinking of this, Chen Mo gritted her teeth and looked at the person who was surrounded by everyone. Smiling with his eyes curved, she puffed out her cheeks in frustration. What an ugly smile. He gives me a dark face but smiles like a flower at a bunch of new classmates. Just then, there was a loud bang. The back door of the classroom was kicked open. A petite and cute girl walked in, carrying her school uniform jacket. Her face dark, she walked to Chen Mo's desk, looked down at the math test in Chen Mo's hand, and sneered, "This test? I can tell the answer with a single glance. Only an idiot would spend so much time on it." After saying that, as if she had done something incredibly impressive, she held her head high like a victorious rooster. Chen Mo was already on edge. And now, being provoked by her, her face immediately darkened. "Oh, really? The idiot, got first place in the entire grade. What does that make the person who can only get second place? Trash?" Chu Yujun was so angry she almost ground her teeth to dust. She glared at her. "Don't get too happy. First place will be mine sooner or later." Chen Mo scoffed, her voice thick with sarcasm. "Hey!" Chu Yujun snorted, threw her jacket on the desk angrily, and sat down. Yesterday, she had been lectured by her sister again. Chu Yujun's dream was to go into the entertainment industry, but her sister wouldn't let her. If she insisted on going, she had to get first place in the entire grade. That's why Chu Yujun was so obsessed with first place. But her luck was bad, she was always second. So, she vented all her frustration on Chen Mo, who had been the top student in the grade multiple times. From small quizzes to big competitions. Whatever Chen Mo did, she had to compete and try to win to prove her own strength. Over time, everyone knew that Chen Mo and Chu Yujun were mortal enemies. "Who are you?" The fuming Chu Yujun finally, belatedly, realized that she seemed to have a new deskmate. You raised an eyebrow. Impressive. It's been half an hour, and she's only just now noticed me. "I'm Chen Fan, the new transfer student." Chu Yujun gave a disinterested, "Oh," and said very coldly, "I have mysophobia. Don't let your books cross the line. Also, don't help people pass me love letters. And don't make any noise in class, or you'll disturb my noble thoughts. Also, don't." Your brow furrowed. This person talks so much. You looked at her with an impatient expression and cut her off. "Are you done? What right do you, who can only manage to get second place, have to babble on here?" Chu Yujun was furious. Being mocked by Chen Mo was one thing, but now this newcomer was mocking her too? In F class, Chen Yu frowned as he sat at his desk, staring at the classroom door. He hadn't seen you come to class. A smile crept onto his lips. The exam should have been over by now. Since you hadn't shown up, you must have failed and been kicked out by the principal. Haha, serves you right. At that moment, a silver-black Rolls-Royce pulled up at the school gate, gleaming in the sunlight. Many passers-by couldn't help but stop to admire it. Some even wanted to get a closer look. But after seeing the unique Chu family crest on the license plate, they could only retreat sheepishly. Inside the car, a woman in a business suit frowned as she looked out the window, occasionally glancing down at her watch. Her special assistant, Song Cheng, seeing the president's anxious frown, rubbed his nose and thought to himself, "President, the second miss won't be out for another half an hour. If you're really that worried, how about I send her a message and ask her to come out as soon as school is over?" Chu Yuyu's cold gaze met his. Her lips thinned. "Who said I was waiting for her?" Song Cheng was momentarily confused. Other than the second miss, no one else from the Chu family attended this school. If she wasn't here to pick up the second miss, who was she here for? Just then, school let out, and students poured out happily. Chen Yu immediately spotted the luxury car parked at the school gate. His eyes lit up. He casually sauntered over and knocked on the car window. "Wow, isn't that a Chu family car? I saw it in a magazine. It's worth tens of millions. Hey, look, isn't that Chen Yu? He's actually going over there. I heard that the Chu family's second miss at our school is pursuing him." Many of these envious comments reached Chen Yu's ears. The immense vanity made him unable to suppress a smile. He possessed something that this crowd of fools could only dream of. Assistant Song Cheng heard the knock on the window and curiously looked out. He saw the face of a handsome boy. Could it be that the president is waiting for this boy? "President, should I open the door?" He looked up, only to see his president's expression overflowing with disgust. Song Cheng's hand, which had been on the door, immediately and sheepishly retreated. He shrank into the driver's seat and tried to become invisible. Chen Yu knocked for a long time without any response. The passing people started whispering among themselves. And his face burned with shame. He couldn't just give up. He cleared his throat and said softly, "Miss Chu, are you in there? I'm Chen Yu. We met at the Chen family's house yesterday." Still, there was only silence. The mocking whispers around him grew louder. Just as Chen Yu was stuck in a difficult situation, a clear voice suddenly rang out. "Why are you knocking on my family's car?" He turned around to see Chu Yujun, who had just gotten out of school with her backpack. Seeing it was her, Chen Yu breathed a sigh of relief. He smiled and said, "Second Miss Chu, my driver has something to do today and can't come. Could you please give me a ride?" Chu Yujun said coldly. "No." Chen Yu was stunned. "Didn't they say she likes me? Is this how you treat someone you like?" Chu Yujun was not going to be polite with her own family's car. She reached out and banged on the car window, shouting, "Open the door, it's hot, open the door." Song Cheng, in the driver's seat, didn't dare move without the president's order. Chu Yuyu sat in the back, frowning, ignoring the window that was being slapped repeatedly beside her, looking completely calm. Just then, her peripheral vision seemed to catch something. Her silent eyes suddenly lit up as if filled with starlight, and the corners of her tightly pressed lips couldn't help but curve upwards. She straightened her clothes and hair and said, "Open the door." Song Cheng was taken aback. "Yes, President." As soon as he opened the door, a small hand slapped him hard on the forehead. "Second Miss, please be gentle." Chu Yujun rubbed her slightly numb hand and complained. "So you were in here. I was knocking for so long. I thought no one was inside." She was about to get in when she saw the stern-faced woman in the back seat. The leg she had lifted froze, and she sheepishly retracted it. "Sis, you're here too?" She had thought only the driver was here to pick her up. She didn't expect her big sister to come as well. Ever since her sister found out she wanted to get into the entertainment industry, she had been giving her the cold shoulder. Her suddenly coming to pick her up today, did that mean her sister had come around? Chu Yuzhen's eyes lit up. She smiled and sidled up to her. "Sis, do you think I have a lot of potential? Is that why?" "Get lost." Before she could finish, the woman in front of her cut her off coldly. Then, she saw her big sister stride out on her long legs, pass by her without a second glance, and walk away. At that moment, you were looking with annoyance at Chen Yu, who was blocking your way. Just now, after being flatly rejected by Chu Yujun, Chen Yu had lost face. He was trying to find a way to leave when he caught a glimpse of you walking out of the school with your backpack. He instantly forgot his embarrassment and rushed forward in shock to block you. "Brother, why are you coming out of Jin Gao? You were in the middle of reciting the Chibi Fu, and were just about to get it all memorized when the sudden appearance of a figure broke your train of thought." Your face immediately darkened. "Get out of my way." The cold, piercing look in your eyes made Chen Yu shudder, and he instinctively wanted to move, but the thought that this country bumpkin had actually gotten into Jin Gao made him stop his retreat. "I was just so surprised. Don't take it to heart. But brother, your grades weren't good, were they? How did you get into Jin Gao? You didn't sneak in, did you?" Chen Yu's pretentious voice was so loud it almost made your ears ring. You took a step back to put some distance between you. "What's it to you? How did this Chen Yu get 600 points? Does he think the security guards at this school are blind and crippled? That they would just let someone sneak in and then walk out openly?" But Chen Yu was very sure of his idea, especially when he saw you turn to leave. He was even more convinced he was right. The knot of frustration in his heart instantly loosened. He took 2 more steps and caught up to you. "Brother, don't walk so fast. I know you want to get into Jin Gao to make mom and dad happy. But you can't do things like this. Sneaking around. As long as you admit your mistake to the teacher, I'm sure they won't blame you. If you really want to study hard, I can tutor you. Don't worry, as long as you study hard, you can definitely get into a good second-tier university." "A second-tier university?" "Hey." You stopped and looked at the persistent Chen Yu without expression, asking with amusement, "You'll help me?" Then may I ask what score you can get now? 750? Chen Yu's face instantly became ugly, especially when he saw the undisguised expressions of the many people passing by. He gritted his teeth and forced a smile. Ha, little brother Xiao Fan, you're so funny. The total score is only 750. This bastard is definitely doing it on purpose. Who can get a perfect score on the college entrance exam? You smiled, looking at him with disdain. You can't even get 750. And you have the audacity to say you'll tutor me? Peeved. Hearing this, the passing students couldn't help but laugh out loud. Chen Yu was so humiliated his eyes turned red. And he looked like he was about to cry. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought he had been terribly wrong. Chen Mo came out just in time to see this scene. Chen Yu with red eyes, looking pitiful, and you standing aloof, looking down on him. Without a second thought, Chen Mo stood in front of Chen Yu, facing Yu fiercely. You're bullying Xiao Yu. You looked at Chen Mo, who had suddenly appeared in front of you, and raised an eyebrow. Which of your eyes saw me bullying him? Chen Mo clenched her fists. Xiao Yu is crying, and you still dare to deny it? At that moment, Chen Yu's eyes were red. Sixth sis, don't blame little brother Xiao Fan. He didn't do it on purpose. Hearing this, you clicked your tongue. What a fine cup of green tea. Chen Yu had lived with his sisters for so long, so he naturally knew their personalities and what to do to best manipulate them. Sure enough, after his loaded words, Chen Mo's face instantly flushed with anger. Chen Fan, apologize to Xiao Yu right now. You sneered. Why should I? Chen Mo hated the way you looked at her. During the day, you could be so friendly to everyone else. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got, and she blurted out, if you don't apologize, you're not my brother anymore. In an instant, the atmosphere froze. You slowly raised your eyes to look at her. The light that was once in your eyes was gone, replaced by a cold, lifeless pool of water, piercingly indifferent. Your thin lips parted, your voice clear. Fine by me. Since that's the case, please stay away from me in the future. I don't want to see you guys again either. With that, you turned and left. Chen Mo felt a lump in her chest, unable to breathe in or out. It was very uncomfortable, especially when she thought of the icy, bone-chilling look in your eyes just now. Her heart seemed to spasm, making the discomfort even worse. Chen Yu hid behind Chen Mo, seeing Chen Mo protect him and get into a conflict with you. He couldn't suppress the smile on his lips. See? So what if the real son of the Chen family is back? I'm still the most pampered young master of the Chen family. I'm still the apple of the Chen family's eye. My position in the Chen family is still unshakable. He symbolically wiped the corners of his eyes, desperately trying to suppress his smile. He said in a wronged tone, Sixth sis, don't fight with brother because of me. Brother didn't do it on purpose. Chen Mo collected herself. Seeing his pitiful look, her heart ached, and she instantly forgot the discomfort she had just felt. She ruffled his hair and comforted him. It's okay. I won't let anyone hurt you. Chen Yu was moved to tears. Thank you, sixth sis. Then, he glanced at your retreating figure in the distance, blinked, and pretended to ask casually, should we ask brother to ride home with us? Chen Mo's face stiffened. The thought of you arrogantly telling them to stay away from you made her furious. She snorted. HMPH. Didn't he say he didn't want to see us? Then let him figure out how to get back himself. You had no intention of getting in the Chen family's car. The thought of facing a cup of green tea in the car was worse than walking and reciting, Chibi Fu, to yourself. You hadn't recited 2 lines when another figure blocked your path. You slowly looked up and met a pair of dark, smiling eyes. Chu Yuyu stood in front of you, smiling. Mr. Chen, long time no see. I wonder if I might have the honor of inviting you to my home as a guest? Your tone was icy. No honor. Where was I in my recitation? Your fluffy little head drooped, passing in front of her. So cute it made one want to reach out and ruffle it. Chu Yuyu clenched her fists, forcibly suppressing the urge. After all, the little hedgehog was all spines right now. If she provoked it, it wouldn't just prick her. But Grandpa said he wants to talk to you about the child engagement. After all, it was just a bet and can't be taken seriously. But if you really don't want to go, then we can just maintain this relationship for now. Chu Yuyu's tone was tinged with regret. Hearing this, you stopped in your tracks and looked back at her in disbelief. Is what you're saying true? Chu Yuyu smiled. I, your humble servant, have always been a woman of my word. You narrowed your eyes, studying hers. Her eyes were clear and open. Although the Chu family was indeed a powerful family, and relying on them would undoubtedly make your future life and career smooth sailing, that wasn't what you wanted. You preferred to rely on your own two hands to obtain what belonged to you. Piece by piece, what you earned yourself was what truly belonged to you, and no one could take it away. If old Master Chu had really thought it through and was willing to annul the previous joke of an engagement between you and this Chu Yuyu, that would indeed be a good thing. A trip there didn't seem like a loss. All right, then. Hearing you agree, Chu Yuyu's cool, beautiful face instantly relaxed. Her lips curved up, and unable to resist, she reached out and ruffled your hair. Good boy. At this sight, there was a collective gasp of cold air from the surroundings. What is the relationship between the Chu family and this boy? Chu Yujun, standing by the car, stared in disbelief, her eyes wide. Her school bag fell to the ground without her even noticing. Assistant Song, slap me. I think I was just hallucinating. Song Cheng was equally bewildered. He rubbed his forehead and said, Second miss. I think I'm dreaming too. Only you took a step back, looking at her warily, your eyes full of shame and anger. In the car, Chu Yujun looked you up and down, then leaned in close and asked in what she thought was a very low voice. What's your relationship with my sister? You replied coldly, no relationship. Chu Yujun clearly didn't believe you. How can there be no relationship? I just saw her touch your hair. Oh, I know. You suddenly transferred to a class because my sister told you to. Right? Your purpose is to monitor me, isn't it? After saying that, she nodded with certainty. What a bad woman. You didn't understand why this person had so much resentment. Chu Yujun fumed. I love performing and singing so much. But she won't let me into the entertainment industry. She insists I take over the company after graduation. This is Yi Sha Ing my dreams. Destroying my life. Tell me, isn't someone so cruel a bad woman? With every word she spoke, the temperature in the car dropped a degree. Song Cheng, who was driving, wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and secretly glanced at the president, whose face had already turned dangerously dark. His heart trembled. Does the second miss have a death wish? Saying bad things about the president right in front of her. And so loudly too. Hearing her words, you looked up at Chu Yuyu, who was resting with her eyes closed beside you. And after thinking about all her actions, you nodded in agreement. Indeed. Hearing you agree with her, Chu Yujin's eyes lit up. It was as if she had found an ally. She completely forgot that she had just suspected you of monitoring her. She couldn't help but reach out and grab your hand, her eyes welling with tears. I can't believe you understand me. Finally, there's a sister who thinks the same way I do. You were taken aback by her excited actions and frowned. Something felt strange. What sister? Chu Yujun continued to complain. You have no idea. Those people just suck up to me. They don't dare to tell the truth. Only you are willing to tell the truth. From now on, we're sworn brothers. Chu Yujun looked up and cautiously glanced at her sister, seeing that she was still resting with her eyes closed. As if she hadn't heard anything, she breathed a sigh of relief. She leaned in closer to your ear and continued. Since you think the same way I do, I'll officially approve your entry into my anti-bad woman alliance. From now on, we're comrades in arms, grasshoppers on the same rope. Her voice was full of passion. You raised an eyebrow, surprised for a moment. This Chu Yujun might seem unreliable, but you didn't expect her to go to such lengths for her dream. How many people are in your alliance? You asked softly. Just two. You and me. You were speechless. What exactly was I expecting? Old Master Chu was already waiting at the villa entrance early on. As soon as he saw the car pull in, he immediately went up to greet it with a cheerful smile. Ayo, it must be little Fan who has arrived. As soon as you got out of the car, you saw old Master Chu's smiling face. You went up to greet him. Hello, Grandpa Chu. Although you were a little unhappy that old Master Chu had suddenly arranged a child engagement for you. He was still an elder. And this elder was very fond of you. No matter how unruly you were. You couldn't bring yourself to involve an innocent person. Come in, come in. I had someone make you some plum juice. On a hot day like this. A little plum juice is great for cooling down. He led you into the house with a beaming smile. Completely forgetting about his two granddaughters behind him. Chu Yuyu was fine and calmly followed him inside. But Chu Yujun was not okay. She stared at the scene in shock. Chu Yuyu didn't even glance at Chu Yujun and said lightly. He's your brother-in-law. You should be more careful in the future. Boom. Chu Yujun felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She had been abandoned by her comrade in arms. The battle was over before it even began. At this moment, you weren't feeling much better either. You had thought that old Master Chu had called you over to tell you that this whole thing was a misunderstanding and that you could leave afterward. But you had already finished dinner here. And he hadn't said a word about it. And Chu Yuyu, sitting nearby, was acting as if she knew nothing about it. Engrossed in a newspaper, only Chu Yujun, for some reason, had been glaring at you with the look of someone staring at a traitor ever since you walked in the door. As it got later and later, you knew your parents would start to worry if you didn't go back soon. You finally couldn't hold it in anymore. Grandpa Chu, actually, I came over today to talk about the child engagement you mentioned before. Hearing this, old Master Chu seemed to just remember. He slapped his cane with a look of sudden realization. Oh, look at this old man's memory. I was wondering why I felt like I had forgotten something important. You smiled obediently, waiting for him to continue. You saw old Master Chu turn to Chu Yuyu, who was sitting on the sofa nearby, and say, "Go get the box your grandmother left behind." Chu Yuyu obediently went upstairs and came back down with a delicate redwood box in her hand. Old Master Chu took the box, opened it, and inside lay a silver-brown bracelet, dotted with tiny diamonds and carved with intricate vine patterns, giving it a low-key, mysterious look. For a moment, you didn't understand what old Master Chu meant. Why was he taking out a bracelet all of a sudden? The next second, either because his movement was too fast or the bracelet was too smooth. Before you could react, the bracelet was already on your wrist. Grandpa Chu, what are you doing? You asked. Puzzled, old Master Chu was also taken aback. He didn't expect the bracelet to act as if it had a life of its own. Haha, it's fate, it's fate. Old Master Chu laughed heartily a few times, and the look in his eyes when he looked at you became more serious. My boy, this is what my old wife wanted. You felt the bracelet on your wrist move slightly. When you looked down, it was still the same, as if it had been your imagination. When you looked up again, old Master Chu was already walking away with his cane. Grandpa Chu, wait, I can't take this bracelet. You stood up, anxiously trying to pull the bracelet off your wrist while trying to catch up to him. But the bracelet seemed to have shrunk, and no matter how you twisted or pulled, it wouldn't come off. You continued to struggle. Chu Yuyu, her heart aching, grabbed your right hand to stop you. This bracelet was left by my grandmother. She said it has a spirit. Once it has chosen its owner, it won't come off. My grandmother was only able to take it off after she passed away. You looked up at her coldly. So, what are you trying to say? Miss Chu? Your gaze was too cold and distant. The words Chu Yuyu had prepared were suddenly stuck in her throat. Miss Chu, I believe I've made myself very clear from the beginning. Our so-called child engagement was just a joke between the older generation during their leisure time. It can't be taken seriously. Besides, my grandfather is still abroad, and we can't even verify the truth of this joke. So, I think this matter can end here. From now on, you go your way, and I'll go mine. We have nothing to do with each other. As for this bracelet, I will find a way to take it off and return it to you. No need to see me out. Goodbye. After saying that, you turned and left decisively, your entire figure radiating rejection. Chu Yuyu stood there inside, rubbing her throbbing temples. It seemed she had been too aggressive. The little hedgehog seemed to be more stubborn than she had imagined. He clearly responded to soft tactics. not hard ones. She had used the wrong method, which would only push him further away. It seemed she needed to find another way to get close to the little hedgehog. At this moment, Chu Yujun, sitting in the corner, looked at your retreating figure with an almost worshipful gaze. Amazing. This is the first time I've ever seen anyone dare to speak to my sister like that. And most importantly, after you said it, not only did my sister not get angry, but she's actually reflecting on it. My goodness. When can I learn such a high-level skill? You walked out of the villa with a cold face and hailed a taxi at the entrance. You looked down at the bracelet on your wrist. Other than the intricate patterns on the ancient-looking bracelet, there seemed to be nothing special about it. You tugged at it forcefully, but it still wouldn't come off. Thinking about what Chu Yu had just said, you sneered, made of meteoric iron? Hey, she must think I'm a 3-year-old to make up such a story. You were also a little confused now. The Chu family's status was much higher than the Chen family's. They had no reason to try to get close to you to gain anything. It seemed there was no benefit or profit for them in this. Old Master Chu liked you, possibly because you had saved his life. But what was Chu Yuyu's reason for getting close to you? It couldn't really be just because of that joke of a child engagement. Could it? Back at the Chen family villa, as soon as you stepped inside, you heard your big sister's sharp reprimand from within. What do you mean? Xiao Fan isn't worthy of riding in the Chen family's car? Xiao Fan is the heir of the Chen family. My biological brother, and mom and dad's biological son. In what way is he not worthy of riding in the Chen family's car? Sixth sister, this is my final warning to you. Xiao Fan is the brother I hold in the palm of my hand. If anything happens to him, don't blame me for not considering our sisterly bond. Go find him, all of you, go find him. No one sleeps until you find Xiao Fan. Your heart trembled, and a warm current of emotion flowed into you, watering the desert of your indifference. I thought I was just a lonely ghost in this world. That even if others bullied me or mistreated me, I didn't need to care. But I never thought that words of protection could sound so beautiful. Big sis, I'm back. You took a deep breath, steadied your racing heart, and walked in. The noisy living room instantly fell silent. Chen Huang, who was standing in the center of the living room with a grave expression, slowly turned around at the sound of your voice. When she saw the handsome boy standing at the door, the tense atmosphere around her slowly dissipated. She rushed forward and suddenly pulled you into a fierce hug, holding you tightly in her arms as if you were a rediscovered treasure. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Xiao Fan, you're okay. It's Big Sis's fault. I didn't protect you well. She was truly scared when Chen Mo and Chen Yu came back just now without you. And she found out that they had left you behind. She panicked. The thought of the thin, lifeless boy lying on the bed in the hospital morgue in her past life made her heart ache so much she could barely breathe. You were held in her warm embrace. And in an instant, the weariness of your long journey disappeared. Although you didn't understand what was wrong with your big sister, you could feel that she had no ill intentions. On the contrary, she was full of worry and fear about your disappearance. Thinking of this, you couldn't help but hug her back. Big sis, I'm fine. I'm back now, aren't I? Hearing your words, Chen Huang slowly regained her composure. She reached out and ruffled your hair, saying dotingly, from now on, if you don't want to ride in the same car with them, Big Sis will get you a new driver. You shook your head with a smile. That's too extravagant. Why would we need 2 drivers just to pick someone up? That's too wasteful. Hearing this, Chen Huang's expression faltered. She remembered the work notebook and the rusty tea tin full of money she had seen in your past life. All right, Big Sis will listen to you. We won't be extravagant. Chen Yu, standing on the side, saw this and clenched his fists even tighter, letting his neatly trimmed nails dig into his palms. What kind of potion did he give Big Sis? Big Sis used to dote on me the most. Now she doesn't even look at me. He must have said something to Big Sis. And on the way back, I even heard Sixth Sis say that this country bumpkin actually got into Jingao, and into a class at that. Why, we both only scored 600 points. I'm in F class, but he's in a class. Big Sis must have helped him. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. No, I can't just sit here and wait. I have to make you pay. Everything in the Chen family. Whether it's the wealth, the status of the young master, or the sister's love, can only belong to me. Chen Yu. Thinking of this, Chen Yu took a deep breath and took a tentative step forward. Feigning concern, little brother Xiao Fan, it's so good that you're back. We were all so worried about you just now. His eyes were red, as if he had just been crying. You found it somewhat amusing. You were worried about me? I'm afraid you were wishing I dropped dead on the spot. Hearing you say this, Chen Yu's eyes immediately reddened again, and his voice was choked with sobs. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought someone had bullied him. Brother, how can you say that about me? I was really worried about you. After you had a fight with Sixth Sis and left on your own. I wanted to comfort her and then go find you. But you were already gone by then. We had no choice but to come home first. If you're still angry, I can apologize to you on Sixth Sis's behalf. Look at the art of speaking. In just a few sentences, he had completely absolved himself of all blame. Sure enough, as soon as these wronged words came out, that fool Chen Mo immediately fell for it. She stared at you with a hostile expression. I was the one who said those things today. And I was the one who told the driver to leave. If you have any resentment, take it out on me. Why are you always bullying Xiao Yu? You chuckled lightly. I just said 4 words. You guys, on the other hand, have been chattering on. And in the end, you've pinned a baseless accusation on me. Do you guys have a persecution complex? Chen Mo was rendered speechless. Her face flushed red. Chen Huang, seeing this, was afraid that Sixth Sis would really get angry and hurt you. She quickly intervened. All right, Sixth Sis, you were the one in the wrong today. Apologize to Xiao Fan, then go upstairs and do your homework. Chen Mo gritted her teeth and stood her ground. Chen Yu tugged at her sleeve and whispered. Sixth Sis, what should we do? What a pair of pitiful siblings. You sneered, feeling a wave of disgust. You felt like you would get a sty if you kept watching. No need, big sis. Miss Chen Lu doesn't need to apologize. I'm going upstairs to do my homework now. With that, you were already on the stairs. Chen Huang frowned and wanted to say more, but since you hadn't said anything, she was afraid that if she said too much, it would make you unhappy. She could only glare at Chen Mo, who was still standing there. Chen Mo's mind was completely blank at this point. What did he call her? Miss Chen Lu? Fine. I hope you never call me, sister, again for the rest of your life. If I ever call you, little brother, again, I'm a puppy. Your hand, which was about to close the door, paused. You couldn't help but let out a soft laugh. Childish. You closed the door, completely blocking out the sounds from outside. The next day, as soon as you entered the classroom, you noticed that the way everyone was looking at you was a little off. As soon as you sat down, the girl in front of you turned around and whispered, Chen, do you read the school forum? You frowned and answered honestly, no. Why? Did something happen? Your deskmate in front was named Li Suji, a sweet-looking girl with a baby face and glasses. Li Suji pursed her lips, hesitating for a long time without saying anything. In the end, she could only take out her phone, tap it a few times, and hand it to you. Chen, you should probably see for yourself. This post is trending. It was posted last night, and by this morning, it already has several hundred comments. Shocking. Transfer student Chen Fan scored only 600 points but was placed in a class. Is Jingao's strict standard worthless in the face of the powerful? Or has capital triumphed over hard work? Is this fair to us students who have studied so hard? We demand an official explanation. What? 600 points gets you into a class? I scored 670 and I'm in C class. Unfair. I reasonably suspect that this guy didn't even get 600 points. How can it be such a coincidence? The passing score is 600. And he just happened to get 600? The post was getting more and more popular. And more people were discussing it. Making your head throb, you handed the phone back to Li Suji and said softly, thanks. I get it. Li Suji took the phone back. Looking stunned, she blinked. Chen, aren't you going to explain? They're saying really nasty things about you. Then she added quietly, "Don't worry, Chen. I believe you. You can even solve such a difficult math problem. They must have gotten it wrong." You put your school bag in your desk, took out the Chinese textbook you needed for morning self-study, and smiled. "They're not wrong. I did score 600 points." Li Suji looked at you with a puzzled expression. Then "But you said calmly, I scored 600 points because I wanted to score 600 points. Because I didn't want to waste time. Not because I can only score 600 points. As for these rumors, when the exam results come out, we'll let our abilities do the talking." These words were spoken with such force that many in the class, who had just been sneering, were now shocked into silence. Especially Li Suji, whose eyes were practically overflowing with admiration. She stared at you as if you were her idol. "Don't worry, Chen. I'll always be on your side. I'll always believe in you." But even so, more than half of the class still looked disdainful. In their eyes, what you had just said was just empty bragging. Only a bookworm like Li Suji would believe it. Chen Mo, sitting nearby, listened to the whispers around her and tightened her grip on her pen. Are these people that bored? Do they not have enough homework or enough comprehensive problems to solve? How do they have so much free time to meddle in other people's business? 5 minutes to turn in the chemistry papers. Anyone who hasn't finished will be marked as not having done their homework. Chen Mo suddenly said in a cold voice. As soon as she said this, the gossiping whispers immediately turned into a frantic rush to finish homework. The chemistry teacher was the head of the grade, notoriously strict. If you really didn't turn in his homework, a public criticism would be the least of your worries. In serious cases, he would make you give a speech under the national flag on Monday. That would be a huge embarrassment. Seeing that everyone had finally stopped talking, Chen Mo couldn't help but smile. But then she remembered something, and her smile immediately disappeared. This isn't to help you. It's just that it's really time to collect the homework. If you apologize to me later and beg for my forgiveness, then I'll just forgive you. After all, we see each other every day. I'm your sister. I can't be too petty. But since you spoke so harshly yesterday and hurt my feelings, I'll hold out for 10 minutes. No. 3 minutes. 1 minute. Right. I'll hold out for 1 minute before I forgive you. Just to make you realize your mistake. She took a deep breath, prepared herself, and forcibly suppressed the smile on her lips. She casually glanced toward the window seat. She saw that the boy was completely unmoved, still memorizing his book. Chen Mo was so angry her chest was heaving. She had just helped him so much, and he was completely indifferent. Fine, I'm never going to help you again. Let's see how you handle this. Even if you're bullied to tears, I won't care. Just then, the familiar sound of the door being kicked open rang out. The next second, Chu Yujun walked in lazily with her bag. She walked around the classroom like a proud peacock, her head held high. Then, she seemed to see something, and her eyes lit up. Then, under the incredulous gazes of everyone, the peacock transformed into a little chick and scurried to your desk. She sat down eagerly. Wow, boss, I brought you red bean milk tea. Want some? It's super delicious. The sickly sweet smell filled your nostrils. You frowned and leaned back to get away from it, refusing. No thanks. You can have it. Chu Yujun wasn't the least bit embarrassed by the rejection. She eagerly leaned in closer again. Boss, are you studying? Want me to test you? Boss, are you doing problems? Want me to teach you? My chemistry is really good. Boss, do you want some water? I'll go get it for you. Do you want it hot or cold? Boss, you finally couldn't take it anymore. You shoved the paper in your hand into her mouth. Shut up, and don't call me boss. We're not that close. Please stay away from me. These past few days, you had been getting headaches from studying so much. And she was chirping like a sparrow without end. Are all the guys in this school blind? How could they find such a weirdo attractive? Chu Yujun pulled the paper out of her mouth and said with a serious expression. Yesterday, we already formed an alliance. You're my comrade in arms now. You can't be a deserter. What the hell? Where is this all coming from? Chu Yujun mysteriously leaned in closer to you and whispered. Boss, you have no idea. After you scolded my sister last night and left so coolly. My sister was actually depressed in the living room. Can you believe it? So I secretly swore that I would learn your techniques and aura. And then make my sister obey my every word. And from then on, reach the pinnacle of my life. So I've decided to faithfully follow in your footsteps from now on. To be immersed in the cultural atmosphere around you. Boss. Fly high and brave. Your little brother will always follow you. You really couldn't help but say. I'm not as amazing as you say. Yesterday, I was just stating the facts. But Chu Yujun clearly didn't believe you. Boss. You're too modest. Just the fact that you're so ugly but can still charm my sister to the point of distraction. On that point alone, you've already surpassed all the men in the country. You were tired and didn't want to talk anymore. Fortunately for Chu Yujun, her last name was Chu. If it were anyone else, they would have been beaten up 800 times by now. It seemed that God had heard your prayers. The class bell rang. Ding, ding, ding. You breathed a sigh of relief. The world was finally quiet. Lu Yanren walked into the classroom with her textbook and slammed it heavily on the desk. Everyone, be quiet. Before we start class, I have something to say. As soon as she said this, everyone immediately stopped what they were doing and looked at the front of the class. Lu Yanran's face was cold as she scanned the room. Her gaze finally landing on you by the window. She rolled her eyes and said, "Today, someone slipped me a complaint letter. The letter says that a certain student in our class is undeserving of their position. That they didn't get into a class based on their own ability, but through dishonest means. I won't name names here. I think everyone knows who I'm talking about." Hearing this, everyone immediately turned to look at the back of the classroom. Being stared at by so many eager eyes, it was hard for you to ignore. But you just raised an eyebrow and didn't say anything. I'd like to see what this homeroom teacher, Lu Yanren, is planning to do. Sure enough, you then saw her say seriously. Given that this matter has seriously affected the learning environment of our class and has also affected the reputation of our Jingao, I have specifically applied to the school leadership. This time, if he can score the class average of 680 points, then he can continue to stay in a class. If he can't, he will be immediately removed. No one can protect him. As soon as she said this, the whole class exploded. They didn't expect someone to actually go and file a complaint letter. How brave. The mock exam was in 2 days. How could anyone improve by 80 points in such a short time? Chen Fan is finished. Tisk, tisk, tisk. He just got here and he's already being kicked out. What a disgrace to the Chen family. Shush. Be quiet. Chen Mo is right next to you. What's there to be afraid of? Didn't Chen Mo say she doesn't acknowledge Chen Fan? That she only has one brother. Chen Yu. Chen Mo's face darkened as she clenched the pen in her hand. I did say that, but that's our family's business. What does it have to do with these people? She was about to stand up and say something when another voice beat her to it. Teacher Lu, what you're saying isn't right. The country has its laws. And the school has its rules. Since my big brother was able to pass the evaluation and get into the school, and even get special approval from the principal to enter a class, that means he has his own abilities. What right do you have to deny that? Chu Yujun stood up and said loudly. Her eloquent manner at that moment actually resembled Chu Yuyu's a little. Wait, why did I think of that woman? You quickly shook your head to get the image of that woman out of your mind. Lu Yanren, at the front of the class, didn't expect Chu Yujun to stand up and speak for you, and even contradict her in front of so many people. Her face instantly turned ugly. But thinking of her grades, and then thinking of the Chu family behind her, she forcibly swallowed the reprimand that was on the tip of her tongue. But this violates the principle of fairness. If everyone gets in through dishonest means like this, isn't it unfair to the other students? As soon as she said this, she immediately got the support of many in the class. Chu Yujun, however, was not swayed by her. She continued to argue. Let's not even talk about whether this complaint letter has been verified. Whether it's true or just a prank. Even the fairness you're talking about. Have you achieved it? You're brandishing an unverified complaint letter and acting all high and mighty. Teacher Lu, as a teacher, don't you think what you're doing is wrong? Shu Yujun rolled her eyes. She looked at you with an expression full of triumph. Don't be afraid, boss. Your little brother's got your back. You sighed, looked at Teacher Lu, who was still panting at the front of the class, and slowly stood up. Your cool tone carried a sense of detachment. Teacher Lu, since you don't believe me, then I'll let my grades do the talking. Lu Yanran composed herself and snorted. Naturally, you smiled faintly and slowly sat down. These past few days, you had pretty much memorized all of your weakest subject, Chinese. You had also looked at some essays for a couple of days. So there shouldn't be any problem. I can't get 750. But 700 is more than achievable. 2 days passed quickly, and it was soon time for the exam. During this time, the incident on the forum continued to ferment. Since you had no intention of explaining, it only got worse. Even Chen Huang, who was at work at her company, found out. She was so angry that she immediately contacted the senior management of the forum website overnight, insisting on finding the person behind the rumor. But you stopped her. Using your connections to solve the problem would only confirm your identity as a rich second-generation kid. There would be no other benefit. Instead of going through all that trouble, it would be better to wait for the results to come out and let your strength speak for itself. Chen Huang respected you and knew you wanted to solve it your own way. So she didn't interfere further. She just reminded you again and again that if you couldn't handle it, she would hire the best lawyers and the toughest team to send the person to jail for a few days. You had a dark look on your face. If she knew that this was done by her other brother, she probably wouldn't be saying that. What you didn't expect was that you would run into Chen Yu during the exam. Your face instantly darkened. He's really like a ghost that won't go away. Chen Yu, seeing you come in with your exam materials, immediately and happily waved and greeted you. Xiao Fan, you're in this exam room too? His shout immediately drew the attention of the entire exam room. You raised an eyebrow and, under the complicated gazes of everyone, calmly and composedly found your seat and sat down. You had lived 2 lives. What kind of situation hadn't you seen? This kind of small-scale drama was less than an itch to you. Chen Yu, not giving up, eagerly came over again and said with a smile. Xiao Fan, I know about the stuff on the forum. Don't worry, I believe you didn't cheat. Even though your grades were bad before, you've been studying so hard these past few days. So you've definitely improved. His words clearly implied that your grades were bad and that you were now just cramming at the last minute. You crossed your arms and looked him up and down before saying coldly, no matter how bad my grades are, I'm still in a class. You, on the other hand, didn't you say you were going to tutor me? Why are you still in the last exam room? Chen Yu's face immediately became ugly. Jin Gao's exam rooms were divided by rank. He had barely scraped by to get in. Jin Gao was full of hidden talents. It was already a great achievement for him to maintain his grades. It was impossible for him to climb up, so he could only hover at the bottom. At this moment, Zhang Hu, who was on good terms with Chen Yu, couldn't stand it anymore. He stood up angrily and defended him. Ah, Yu was just being nice. What's the point of being so sarcastic? Besides, when he got in, his score was much higher than yours. You only got 600 points. What right do you have to talk about him? You clicked your tongue. The protagonist is the protagonist. Everywhere he goes, there's a group of brainless defenders. Were you there when I got 600 points? How are you so sure I can only get 600 points? Zhang Hu gritted his teeth. Your homeroom teacher, Teacher Lu, said so. Are you still trying to deny it? You sneered. She also said she was going to kick me out of a class. But I'm still here, aren't I? Her words aren't a royal decree. What credibility do they have? You're just talking nonsense. When the exam results come out, let's see what else you have to say. Zhang Hu was shaking with anger. But you were in a very good mood. You had been staying up late for several days because of studying. So you were already a little irritable. And they had to walk right into your line of fire. They were just asking for trouble. You tilted your head and looked at the jumping Zhang Hu. Your lips curling into a smile. Your eyes filled with a cold light. If I can score 700 or even higher, what will you two do? Then you and I will bow and apologize to you in front of the entire school. Jong-hoo immediately said, as if afraid you would back out. He continued, but if you can't score 700, you have to run laps on the track calling yourself a fool. And then get the hell out of Jingao. It's a deal. I accept your challenge. Your eyes shone with confidence. Hearing the two of them make a bet, Chen Yu's expression changed. This idiot Jong-hoo had been led by the nose. He had jumped into the pit with just a little prodding. And they were making a bet. Fine, but why did they have to drag him into it? But on second thought, 700 points? No matter how hard you studied, there was no way you could improve that much in just 2 days. And even if he lost, it was just an apology. If you lost, you would have to leave Jingao in disgrace. Thinking about it this way, the bet seemed pretty good. Although Chen Yu hid his emotions and thoughts very well, you, who had already seen through his facade in your previous life, could still see through his inner thoughts at a glance. You sneered, the deer is dead, but who will get it is still uncertain. The first exam was Chinese. The late nights of studying had paid off. You felt that you answered the questions very smoothly. After finishing the last word of the essay, you let out a heavy sigh of relief. With Chinese over, your most worried subject was also over. As for the others, whether it was math, science, or English, you weren't worried at all. Sure enough, during the science exam, you finished all the questions in just 1 hour. After turning in your paper early, you turned and left. During the college entrance exam, you could only turn in your paper half an hour early. But Jingao didn't have this rule because their practice tests were notoriously difficult. It was already an achievement to finish them normally. Who would have time to turn them in early? But today, someone broke this phenomenon. The proctor stared blankly at the paper you handed in, completely bewildered. By the time he came to his senses, you were already long gone. Did this kid turn in a blank paper? But when he looked down, the dense steps of the solution were clear and accurate. Chen Yu hadn't even finished the first page when he saw that you had already turned in your paper. He almost dropped his pen. How can he be so fast? At this moment, his gaze swept over your desk and saw that your scratch paper was completely clean. He couldn't help but laugh. So fast and no calculations. He must have turned in a blank paper. He could already imagine you leaving Jingao in disgrace. That would be so interesting. He really couldn't help but let out a PFFT of laughter. The proctor's face immediately darkened as he warned, "Focus on your test. Don't make any other noises to disturb the exam." Chen Yu quickly suppressed his smile. But the smile on his lips couldn't be hidden. Chen Mo, who was taking the exam in a class, was calculating the first big problem. Just as she finished writing the answer, she caught a glimpse of a familiar figure. That's Chen Fan. He's finished already? But it's only been an hour. How can he be so fast? Chen Mo bit her lip and couldn't help but speed up her own work. When she finished the last word, it had been exactly 1.5 hours. Without a second thought, she stood up and handed in her paper. This was the first time she had ever handed in a paper without checking it. But she couldn't be bothered with that anymore. All she could think about now was that she couldn't be worse than her little brother under any circumstances. But things were far more exaggerated than she had imagined. That man didn't just turn in his science paper early. For the subsequent math and English exams, he compressed his time to just 40 minutes before leaving the exam room. Chen Mo gritted her teeth, her brain working at top speed. But the fastest she could reduce her time to was 1 hour. You had no idea about Chen Mo seeing you leave and her secret competition with you. After turning in your paper, you wandered out to buy a shaved ice. The shaved ice at the school gate was really delicious. Every time you came here, it was crowded with people. This time, you turned in your paper early, so there was no one to compete with you. In your past life, to help your sisters, you would never buy these kinds of snacks. Now it was different. You didn't have to control yourself anymore. You had to eat your fill. Boss, 1 matcha shaved ice, with extra red beans, coconut jelly, and raisins. The boss was an aunt in her 50s who answered with a smile. All right. The shaved ice was a big, heavy bowl. You took a big bite and put it in your mouth. It was sweet and cool. So delicious you wanted to bite your tongue off. Just then, a pleasant but somewhat sneaky voice rang out. Boss lady, 1 shaved ice. No jam, no toppings, no sugar, thanks. Your action of eating shaved ice paused. No jam, no toppings, no sugar? Isn't that just a cup of ice? This person is really interesting. They came all the way here just to eat a bowl of ice. That'll be 5 yuan. Young lady, WeChat or cash? The aunt's voice rang out. Then, a rustling and clinking sound came from beside you. It must be that person rummaging through their bag for money. Hey, kid, how about I give you an autograph in exchange for 5 yuan? You looked up and the first thing you saw was a head of eye-catching pink hair and a woman in a denim outfit. She seemed to be in a hurry, frowning and glancing at her watch. She urged, "Hey, kid, I'm in a hurry. Have you decided where you want me to sign?" You took a step back with your shaved ice and looked up at her, saying seriously, "Sorry, I don't follow celebrities, and I don't need your autograph." The pink-haired woman's hand, which had just taken out a pen, trembled violently. She stared at you in disbelief, pointing at her own nose. "What do you mean? You don't follow celebrities? You don't know me?" She seemed so surprised that her voice rose several decibels, making your ears hurt a little. You nodded honestly. That's right. The moment you nodded, you clearly saw the world crumble in the pink-haired woman's eyes. It seemed that not knowing her was something completely unacceptable. You could see her chest heaving up and down, and the professional smile she had just been wearing instantly drooped. "I'm a top-tier celebrity right now. The streets are covered with my promotional posters. This face of mine, wherever it goes, it's always met with a storm of adoration. Charming everyone. Look again. Look carefully. I don't believe you don't know me." With that, she leaned her face closer. You silently looked up at her. No impression. Crack. It was the sound of a heart breaking. The pink-haired woman clutched her chest as if she had been internally injured. Grimacing. "I know. You're doing this on purpose. You're definitely doing this on purpose. Are you a fan of my rival, Chen Zhang? So you're attacking me personally to get revenge for your idol? HMPH. Impossible. As long as I'm here, Chen Zhang can forget about ever surpassing me." Your action of eating ice paused. You blinked. Chen Zhang? That name sounds familiar. Isn't that my 5th sister? Based on the timeline, my 5th sister isn't a top-tier actress yet, but she's starting to make a name for herself, having won a few awards. It's normal for her to have a few rivals. Seeing that the boy in front of her was silent, the pink-haired woman seemed even more convinced of her theory. She crossed her arms and said with a cold snort, "I was right, wasn't I? I knew it. Besides Chen Yang's fans, with my devastatingly beautiful face, how could anyone possibly be so hostile?" Then she strode over to you on her long legs and said softly, "Kid, you should get your eyes checked sometime. Only a fool would like that ice cube Chen Zhang and not a little sweetheart like me. Look at you. You can't even judge people properly." You narrowed your eyes, very repulsed by this woman who had suddenly gotten so close. Without a second thought, you raised your arm and slapped away the hand she had placed on your shoulder. Your eyes flashed with a cold light. "This is my private business. What does it have to do with you?"